We are now behind the scenes at All American Pharmaceutical, where some of the magic happens. This is the quality control lab, right? And how many products would you say that you make a day here?
Oh gosh, in any given day, you know, hundreds of different things in one day.
Wow. And those hundreds of different things, you have to then, there has to be a quality control process to almost every stage, right? That has to be incredibly challenging.
It is. It's very challenging because every raw material that comes through must be thoroughly checked to make sure it meets specifications, and then every part of in process, blending, capping, packaging, it needs to come back to the lab, be retested to make sure that we did it right and that we didn't contaminate anything during the manufacturing process.
Right, because I think one of the common things we see in the industry is machines being used over and over without being cleaned. Right, and so you guys have a process for every single run, I'm assuming, that goes through.
Absolutely, here. Every run, everything has to be completely torn down, sanitized, rooms, walls. Quality control has to come in, check, swab, looking for any type of ATP reservoir before they will allow that to start up again.
Yeah. One of the things that makes this facility unique is they actually have a system where the products can actually, at different stages of manufacturing, can actually be brought right here through this tube system, right into the testing and assaying process. Could you explain that a little bit for me?
Yeah, so just the only place in the country you'd ever see this, probably in the world. This is similar to what a bank would do. Those are vacuum tubes. And from each of the main production areas, they will send the paperwork and the retained samples through those tubes into the quality control lab. Does a couple things. Saves time. Time is money. Yeah. And it also eliminates people from leaving their rooms and from getting samples mixed up.
Right. Wonderful, wonderful. And that's just one of the rare things they do here. It's one of the reasons we chose them. Tell me a little bit more about what happens inside this office.
Yeah, so this lab is very, very complex.
Yeah.
If you know the Big Bang Theory, this is it. So we're doing a lot of things. You know, we're checking for identity of raw materials. We're checking for purity. This is a very sophisticated machine that does all heavy metal testing. People might say, well, what does that have to do with anything? Well, lead poisoning, metal poisoning, very, very dangerous. So we need to make sure that they are below industry standards, very, very strict.
Right, all the way down, parts per million.
Parts per million.
Have to
this machine will actually even go down to parts per billion on some things.
Wow.
So again, talking about finding a needle in Texas or Ohio.
Absolutely. And then I want to get back to that product identification or ingredient identification. I think this is really important for the consistency of each lot and the bottle having the same thing in it every time. Tell me a little bit about that identity process.
Yeah, so I actually set up the protocols for our industry years ago with near-infrared. They call me the father of near-infrared technology. Similar to when Microsoft came out, every computer came with Windows. Well, every unit came with my research on it. So basically, we would put powder into a bottle. This bottle goes on the machine, laser comes up, 30 seconds, we have a complete chemical makeup of this product without ever destroying the product. So we can check to make sure that the compound is vitamin C. Right. Because if you were looking to the naked eye, you would think it was vitamin C, but we're going to make sure, before we get on with purity checks and safety checks and all that other stuff, we want to make sure that compound is what it is.
And that's interesting. So there's an infrared process that carries a signature.
Yep,
and that signature is unique to every ingredient.
Every single ingredient.
That's awesome.
You can give me 2 types of sugar from 2 different manufacturers, and I can tell you which manufacturer has which sugar. That's how sophisticated it is.
Well, that's great. Wow, this stuff is beyond high tech, and we're glad that we use this for our NuEthix products.